Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today on Sigma Sunday. Today, I want to talk to you about emotional regulation and what that looks like in business. Building emotional resiliency is a total game changer for any entrepreneur. When the challenges hit, and trust me, we all know they will, it's your ability to bounce back that keeps the business moving forward. Instead of letting setbacks define you, use them as lessons to grow stronger and smarter. If this is your first time joining us, you may be asking yourself, who is this and how does she know anything about this kind of stuff? My name is Rebecca Sonnenberg. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a business owner. I will definitely take 100% accountability that regulating my emotions may not always be my strongest suit. I'm extremely a neurodivergent human being, and sometimes the way neurodivergent brains work, it's a little bit like firing off 67 rockets all at the same time. I have a tendency to think very fast, move fast, and talk fast. And when everybody on my team does not do the same, my level of patience can grow very thin, which is not helpful, and it does not make for good leadership, nor does it make for an environment that feels comfortable for a lot of people. We need to remember that resiliency isn't about never feeling stressed or overwhelmed. If that exists, please leave me a comment in the chat, and I would love to hear more about your magic. But what it is about is taking a pause. One of the things that I like to do is with a piece of jewelry, like whether it's my bracelets, whether it's my ring, when somebody asks me something, if they have a question or they want me to make a decision, solve a problem, I like to do what I call a 3-second pause. I move my ring around 3 times, or my jewelry 3 times, and in that time, I'm deciding what really needs to happen. What do I really want to do? This helps me to sit with what really needs to happen and not making impulsive decisions or running into being a fixer. This lets me sit and say, yeah, this feels good, I want to do that, or no, I think someone else can handle this better. This is really hard to do and it takes some practice. The other thing I really want you guys to do is focus on those little wins. Sometimes I know as a business owner, it's the really big things that we keep focusing on. The big accomplishments, the big contracts, the fact that employment is up, whatever that may look like. And although those are great and those are wonderful, sometimes it's those little baby wins that are even more important. Sometimes it's those that keep our team running in a healthier, more conscientious way. So when we can take the time, when we can start to recognize what's within us and why we might be dysregulated before we dysregulate anyone else. One of the things that I also talk a lot about, and this is even with parents and how they work with their kids, the minute that your child is dysregulated, if you can't stay regulated and you both are dysregulated, where do you think that's going to go? Nowhere good. It's going to be an absolute mess. And although your employees are not your children, you care about them. They matter. And it's kind of the same concept, right? If they're dysregulated and then you're dysregulated, where do you think that's going to go? Nowhere. You're the front of the ship. You're the head of this entire body. And if you can keep yourself calm and you can keep yourself relaxed, it helps to tend to bring your team down to the same level. So this is where those slow pauses come in, right? Taking 3 seconds and really thinking about what kind of reaction you want to have. This is also really helpful when you have an employee who has a tendency to be difficult to deal with, maybe difficult in meetings, and you have this knee-jerk reaction to want to be like, could you knock it off? Could you stop talking? Could you talk faster? Whatever that may look like. But instead, what you're doing is you're taking that pause, you're taking that second, and you're just saying, thank you, Susan. I really appreciate that information. We'll go ahead and check back on that at a later date. And then you move on instead of choking Susan in front of the entire board, which is never a good moment for anybody, right? So these are the things I'm talking about. And the thing with the small wins too, is you have to remember that when you started your business, it was those tiny little moments that probably meant more to you than anything else, right? It was that first employee that you hired that was just a rock star and you've enjoyed working with them ever since. It was the first time you made payroll without having to be worried about where was that money going to come from. Okay, those are tiny things that add up very quickly and are big deals to you and your company. And when you can celebrate those little moments, your team learns to celebrate them too. They're looking to you to tell them it's not just bringing in $1 million contracts. It's not just doing the biggest thing on the entire planet and solving all of the world's problems. Sometimes it's just being a listening ear to a coworker so that they feel better about showing up to work every day. So try to think small sometimes. That's not always the worst thing, right? Some really great things come in small packages. So celebrate the small wins, take your 3-second pauses, and just slow down. Regulate your emotions and looking at where those emotions are really coming from. As business owners, we have a tendency to be overworked, we're tired, we're living on coffee, we're mainlining, caffeine in any direction that we can. So taking the moment to say, is my reaction to this really about this person or this question, or do I need a nap? Because again, just like kids, we're not much different. Sometimes I need a snack, sometimes I need a nap, sometimes I just need to go home. And all of those things are okay, but it's not okay for me to have a huge reaction on those around me, especially who work for me, just because I need to have a snack for the day or just because I need a nap. And as a human being and as a business owner, showing yourself the grace and kindness of maybe today's just a snack kind of day and I don't have time to do with this because I'm grumpy, and I would rather own that and sit with that than poo-poo on my entire team and have them be grumpy for the rest of the week, walking on eggshells because they're afraid of what my reactions are going to be. Okay, so 3 seconds, take pauses, look and decide what really feels like is the right decision. Celebrate those beautiful baby tiny wins that still add up and are amazing. And the biggest one, do you need a nap? Do you need a snack? Do you maybe just need to go home and take a break? All of those things are okay. And those are things that you want to teach those that are watching you, that those things are okay in their world too. I truly, truly hope that this advice helps you to look at some things and making you start to feel like a happier, healthier business owner, a happier, healthier you, and overall, just a happier, healthier human. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I appreciate it. If you liked this, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and subscribe. We look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks, everybody.